Do you
Sure.
have that?
Yeah.
So for me, I'll start.
Okay.
For me, when it comes to Christopher Nolan, my number one is Dark Knight. A very close to is Inception, but those are 1A, 1B, two of my 10 favorite movies of all time. Third for me is Batman Begins. I'm very high on Batman Begins. 4 for me, you're going to hate this, is and always has been Tenet.
That's so wild.
5 is Oppenheimer. But I'm at this point, as I was just describing to you, where Oppenheimer could probably overtake Tenet. Maybe I need to rewatch Tenet. I did rewatch Oppenheimer relatively recently, and I was just taken aback by how great that movie is. So Oppenheimer and Tenet are fighting at the 4 and 5 spot. I probably got Interstellar and The Prestige at 6 or 7. Odyssey's right there for me. With Interstellar and Prestige, it's like a great Nolan with like one clear flaw that's holding it back for me. From being one of those just SSS tier movies, some of my favorite movies of all time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my obvious my top 2 are Interstellar, followed by Inception.
Yeah.
Those have not been touched.
Yeah.
After that, I'd probably put The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And then I think it's going to be The Odyssey.
Over Oppenheimer.
Definitely over Oppenheimer. Yeah. I mean, and they're completely different movies. You know, like it's a 3-hour biopic about a guy who created the nuclear bomb, or The Odyssey, which is Greek mythology and a guy coming home to his wife. You know, so they're hard to compare, but you know, I had more fun with The Odyssey, and I think The Odyssey does. Maybe Oppenheimer has a better script and things like that, but The Odyssey has grander sets and some of the things that Oppenheimer has a better score, maybe.
Yeah, it does.
But no, The Odyssey for me is going to be probably 4th, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
And then I do need to see Memento and The Prestige again.
Yeah.
Memento is going to be a little bit lower than The Prestige.
Prestige feels like it would be your favorite movie of all time. Hugh Jackman doing magic.
Magic, I know. Crazy, crazy. No, it's great.
It
might be after The Odyssey.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. But Odyssey is clearly above stuff like Insomnia and Following, and for me, Memento. I like Memento. It's conceptually brilliant, but I don't know. The ending kind of leaves me going, oh, that's too sad for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. It's very Nolan. It's very interesting. It's a good movie, but Memento is lower for me as well, as is Tenet. You know, Tenet's at the bottom, and then maybe Memento.
Yeah, you hate
even though I appreciate what Memento does. So it's probably the number 4.
Sure.
Interstellar and Inception, clear top 2, and then Dark Knight, Odyssey.
I know what you mean by saying that Oppenheimer and Odyssey are like so different movies. So it's hard to compare them, but I am going to bully you for that, because I did bully a couple of our friends that said that they preferred Odyssey to Oppenheimer. Just to me, the script is so much better in Oppenheimer than it is Odyssey. And the thing with Oppenheimer is I'm, you know, we'll get into it in spoilers. The highs of Odyssey are so high, but I do not think it touches the ending of Oppenheimer, where he turns to Einstein at the thing we've been building to the entire movie, and he goes, you know, when I came to you with those calculations that we'd destroy the world, I think we did. That, like, the feeling I got from that movie is unlike a feeling I've ever gotten from any movie ever, including The Odyssey.
Yeah, I think that's a good line. I think it's a great ending, but I wouldn't glaze it that much where I was like, I've never felt this in a movie before.
Sure.
I was like, oh, that was really freaking good. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And The Odyssey has a few of those moments.
Sure. No, The Odyssey ends with something very strong just like that.
Yeah, and
which we'll get into in spoilers. And it's interesting because it's really cool, Oppenheimer, because it's about technology. You know, it's like you're advancing technology, and did you advance technology too fast to the point that it's going to create your own doom? You know, it's very Jurassic Park in that way. You know, your scientists were so caught up with if they could, they didn't think about if they should.
Right.
That's the ending of Oppenheimer. And Odyssey, it's like not a similar ending, but it's an ending that leaves you with a message like that. But it's not about technology. And I thought that was really cool that Nolan has gone back to back with those kind of movies, considering his previous movie was his take on James Bond. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Nolan usually does that. I wasn't expecting another one of those moments with Odyssey, but I think we got one.
All right.
But we can't really talk about it till spoilers, so let's just get into spoilers.
Spoiler alert for The Odyssey.
Yes, this comes out Wednesday, so technically the movie comes out worldwide tomorrow, but there are early screenings. We are comfortable doing this, but do not watch this unless you... You know.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to be spoiled or you've seen it.
Thank you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about some of the high moments in the middle.
Spoiler warning for the Odyssey. Clippers, if we see you
Yes.
fucking posting this shit without
The spoiler
that
alert.
spoiler warning, we're going to kill you.
Yes,
We
we
know
will.
who you are. We
Yeah.
will see it. Don't do it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Thank you.
The horror elements in the Odyssey, the way he particularly tackles the Polyphemus,
The Cyclops.
and not Calypso, Circe.
Yep.
Shocking.
Yep.
Shockingly amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
But so unique.
so unique. Like,
It wasn't Wan. It wasn't Carpenter. It wasn't like any of these horror maestros. It wasn't Hitchcock.
you can do that same scene and it be 10 times more bland or worse.
Either scene.
Either scene. And as soon as they start, you're like, oh, just the way it's shot, the way Polyphemus is revealed, the brutality of it when the lights go out and you start seeing them get ripped apart. He was showing stuff that I didn't think he would show. Like, you see him biting the head off and then you see him turning and just eating and an arm falls out of his mouth. Wild. Insane. And then, yeah, the transformation of the humans, the way that was shot, where she's just grabbing them and literally
Molding
pulling
them.
Yeah, their face into what she wants them to be, reaching down their throats and stuff. You could just have them drink, cut away, do you see their shadow turning into a pig or something. No,
Yeah.
he gets in there. It's so guttural and gruesome and weird, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Everyone was
completely
talking about those two scenes afterwards, and for good reason.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
completely agree. Really creative way of doing those. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the biggest positive.
Okay?
That final act is fabulous.
Fabulous.
It pays off kind of everything in the movie.
Yes.
Up until that point, you get to see Odysseus kick ass. Truly, you get to see Tom Holland's character help out. You get to see Penelope's resolution finally, because she's been going through so much the entire movie. Quick negative. Sir Christopher Nolan. You do it a lot in Batman.
You love the shaky cam.
Please hold the camera still. I'd like to see Matt Damon do something.
Yeah.
A lot of that fight scene at the end is...
Yeah, there's a lot of shakiness.
But overall, I can't complain too much, because there are a lot of moments in that fight scene that aren't shaky cam that look great.
The final act really, I mean, obviously includes everything to do with the final, what you call it, challenge.
Yep.
But even before that, once he showed back up,
Yep.
because there's the weird cut of him going out on the raft,
Yep.
and then he just appears on Ithaca.
Yep.
But once he wakes up and he's in Ithaca, everything after that, every conversation,
Agreed.
his conversation with blind guy,
Yep. John Leguizamo's character.
Yep, his conversation, every conversation he has with Telemachus,
Yep.
the scene where Telemachus realizes
Is incredible.
Incredible.
That's the acting you were talking about? Yes.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
It is fabulous.
the sparkle in Tom's
eyes. Thank you. I love
God,
you.
he's so good.
Oh, he's so good.
And the moment I read the Odyssey when I was in school.
Yep.
I've been re-listening to the audio book, so
Sure.
I'm partially of the way through. There are some things that I think he changed or added. I don't think Telemachus was this lame. He's kind of lame in the Odyssey, in my opinion, in the movie. I don't think he's that much in the book. The rule of Zeus being that big of a deal,
Yep.
I can't remember. I don't remember the dog either,
Mm-hmm.
but whether it was an addition or not, I haven't finished it. I can't remember, but I thought it was a good addition. There's a lot of things that happen in the movie, and the majority of the emotion that I felt were from all of the payoffs in the final act.
Yep.
When Telemachus realizes, when he has that conversation with Penelope,
Yep.
when you get the satisfaction of watching the suitors die,
Yep.
when he finally sees the dog,
Yep.
like
Him doing the bow.
doing the bow, him just aura farming like 90% of the time. Every time he has the hood on, I was like, yeah, this is
Yep.
awesome. He's sitting in the back, just sitting there. Awesome.
Yep.
The conversation, again, this isn't even the action part. Every single one of these conversations has nothing to do with that final fight. But when he comes in and they're dumping stuff in his food bowl and making fun of him, and he puts the thing on his plate.
Yep.
Someone told me to give you this, and then he says the name
Yep.
of the guy, and then he doesn't even turn around. And some of the bars that Telemachus was dropping.
Yep.
What's one more beggar at our feast?
Yep.
You know, he's cooking.
It's so good.
Oh, it was so much fun.
But let's talk about, for me, the highlight of the third act is the conversation with Odysseus and Penelope.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon.
Okay.
Where he is retelling Troy from the negative perspective because it's portrayed as this triumphant thing. And that's the reason he didn't want to go home. And that's the reason he thinks they are cursed, not the Cyclops. And you find out he's been talking to Athena, played by Zendaya, this entire movie. And you find out that maybe it's Athena, maybe not. It's up to interpretation. We will get into that in a minute. But she is the personification of somebody that they killed in Troy. And that's what it is it's this rule of Zeus that's this entire movie. And he shat upon that. And that's what comes, and that they're the people from the sea that don't accept the rule of Zeus and this and that. And so it's the Oppenheimer thing where it leaves you with technology will destroy us. This is the sin of man. This is like, you know, the story in the Bible with the original sin. This is the sin of man. That's the Oppenheimer moment in this, where it's like the people, what we do when we betray others, when we don't have honor for each other. That is fabulous.
Yeah, it kind of changes the perspective of the whole movie.
Completely.
In that one conversation.
Just like in Oppenheimer. It's brilliant. It's fabulous. But so this brings me to the great negative in the Odyssey for me, which is that almost every high I have has nothing to do with and isn't in the Odyssey. That is not in the Odyssey. That is something that Christopher Nolan added. You are explaining, I don't know how much of a part the dog is. That's one of the best moments, probably in addition. If it's not in addition, sure. But a lot of what's best in this movie is Nolan. And I do think, like I predicted a couple weeks ago, if I felt I was wrong about this, I would have stood on it and been like, I was wrong. But I do think I was right a couple weeks ago, that the Odyssey is what holds this movie back. And doing it as accurately as he does it is what holds this movie back. Because to me, the moment the movie loses steam and loses me for an hour and a half is the Cyclops. Yes, it's a great sequence and the horror stuff and whatever. We are in that cave too long. Then we go to the island of the giants. What the point of that is we lost 2 boats? Like, and the movie, and you do the nonlinear storytelling with Charlize Theron's character, Calypso, and the sirens and all this stuff is like well acted and well shot, and the set pieces are amazing, and the Cyclops puppet is unbelievable. So many amazing things to say about it, and the horror sequences and amazing, and Cersei and all this. But it is just too much when the whole opening setup is all the great stuff that is happening on Ithaca. The reason you love the final act so much is because it's on Ithaca. We could not wait to get back to Ithaca. And it's just too much because
Ithaca's in the Odyssey. Ithaca stuff is in the Odyssey.
I know, but it's just too much like of the actual Odyssey for the movie that is set up in the first 30 minutes, in my opinion.
Okay.
You completely disagree.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, there's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to give an example of why I don't think that necessarily makes sense. But
what's the low point of the movie for you? You said it dragged in the middle.
Yeah,
that's what I'm describing. It drags because it's too much of the Odyssey, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's funny. It's kind of like Invincible. We always complain about like how many times are we going to see Mark get beaten down by Viltrumites? And I know that's a show and it's seasons long. And yes, I'm comparing a superhero TV show to a Nolan Odyssey movie. I'm going to get crucified. I don't care. But like how much of the Odyssey movie, the Christopher Nolan movie, and I know this is the story, it's accurate to the Odyssey, but how much of the movie is we're going to go to the Cyclops is going to kick our ass, and we're just going to outsmart it and get our way out barely somehow. And then we're going to go to the island of the giants, and we're going to go there. And oh, by the way, every step of the way, Odysseus makes a wrong decision. That's also a big part of this. That's why they teach it in school. It's a story of hubris, right? Every step, he's like, this is the right decision. No, that was the wrong decision. But so how many times Cyclops, wrong decision, gets people killed? Okay. Island of monsters, wrong decision, gets people killed. Okay, now we're gonna go to the whirlpool. Okay, we're not gonna go to the whirlpool. We're gonna go, and the six heads thing is gonna kill six of us. And then the sirens, and we're gonna lose people to that. And then Circe, and they're gonna get turned into pigs. And then the storm, and everybody's gonna die. Like, how many times do you have to show me that everything sucks? And for Odysseus and this and that, and then, and now we find out from Charlize Theron, he's been there for 7 years, and the nonlinear storytelling throughout this kind of confuses the audience. This is my point. This is not the fault of Nolan at all. He didn't write that. The Odyssey is one of the oldest stories we ever have. That's why they teach it to you in schools. This is my point, is it's like that repetitiveness, that the having to write that hurts the movie because it has to be accurate to the Odyssey. That is my point.
Okay.
But you still completely disagree.
Yeah.
But so what is the problem with the middle act for you?
I think he spends too long on certain things, but I wouldn't say just because the Odyssey was written the way it is, that's why the movie is not as good. I think the movie only exists because the Odyssey is written that way, and I think seeing all the examples of the mythology and what they have to go through is somewhat interesting. Maybe he shouldn't have shown all of it, or maybe it could have been paced a little bit better, but it's just it's a movie. I mean, almost every action adventure movie, like there are problems that they're trying to do this goal at the end, but then they have to go through all these things to get there.
Yeah, but there are plenty of movies where you get Nolan, for example. You get plenty of movies where the middle act is fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
You've got the middle act of Inception is fucking incredible. After they assemble the team and they're putting together the plan, and then they start into the dream, and it's the first dream, and then you got to go to the second dream and the third dream. That's towards the middle, and then gearing into the final act, which the final act is in the third dream with the snow, and then you've got Leo needing to go into the fourth dream, whatever. That is an incredible middle act. Yeah. You don't have that in the Odyssey, in my opinion, and your opinion, because you said one of your negatives is the fucking middle act. Mm-hmm. And it's my opinion that it's the fault of wanting to do the Odyssey faithfully. I think that this movie would be paced significantly better and potentially written significantly better if you cut the hell trip, cut the Island of Giants. Even though visually that's one of the coolest sequences in the movie.
But he cut a lot of stuff.
I know, but but it's interesting because like the Odyssey, the point of the Odyssey story is like it's like this great 10-year trip home for Odysseus. I don't feel that in this movie because the middle act is that, and it's the lowest point of the movie for me. And the first act is so much setup of the Ithaca conflict with the suitors and Penelope, and then that's the payoff at the end. So the Odyssey, which is supposed to be the whole thing, is such an afterthought for me walking out of the Odyssey.
Okay.
And I don't think my point is that's not Nolan's fault. That is the fault of the Odyssey. And that's and every time he did a Nolanism, does the Cyclops scene way different than anybody else would. Does the Circe scene way different than anybody else would. Does the ending with the retelling of Troy from Odysseus's perspective that's not in the original Odyssey. The twist, per se, of Zendaya being who she is instead of Athena or whatever you want to call it. All of that is brilliant. All of that is Nolan.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like I'm like watching it and I'm like, damn, like I wish this wasn't the Odyssey.
I think that's a crazy sentence, but okay.
That was the big thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you want to talk about?
I mean, that was basically it. The third act, we kind of hit all that. Yeah, I again, people who know the Odyssey better, you can let us know. I don't remember Telemachus being like there were like he had problems fighting the whole movie. He finally beat one guy. You know, they seem to make him, you know, I don't remember, again, maybe it's in the book. It is not in the book, as, you know, he had that conversation before he left with his mom where she was like, you're not ready to be king. I'm to the point in the book where he's already left and gone to find Menelaus and